Good afternoon, people, and welcome back to the show. It's a beautiful day to do a show, don't you think? It's the Gunatokes. Thanks for being with me again today, and I'm going to be getting into my full analysis of the game as well as player ratings. But before we jump into that on this glorious Monday, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, drop me a comment, all that wonderful stuff. And yeah, let's get started because there's a lot to talk about. Arsenal Spurs. Spurs got smashed yesterday. I don't need to tell you that. 4-1, amazing result, and more than we could have hoped for, but exactly what we expected. Spurs to be in the mud. Let's start with the team selection first. Arsenal, we started with the team that I predicted. Merino got the nod up front, and Nketiah got the nod at defense. Eze was in midfield, and I felt really confident with that team selection going into the game. When I saw the Spurs team, I really thought that they were going to set up as a 3-5-2, and I thought their wing backs would be pushing forward, bombing on, and trying to pin us back. That is not how it went down. They were basically a flat five, and the wing backs were not supporting anyone in midfield at all. And we ended up having a lot of joy and a lot of space and able to push them back. That was, I don't know what those tactics were, but to come and just sit back like that when you're not even that good at doing it was, I mean, unforgivable for a North London derby, but that's Spurs for you, innit? To be fair, for that first 30 minutes of the game, their plan was kind of working a bit. We weren't able, even though we had a lot of possession of the ball, it was kind of in front of their defense and their midfield, and it was hard to get the penetration. Even though we were probing and trying to move the ball well, Zubimendi was doing really well in midfield, trying to recycle the ball, trying to move it from left to right so that we could try and work an opening, get some overloads. But it was tough for those first 30 minutes to really get any penetration. Like I said, Spurs were a back 5, 6, 7 at times, and that's kind of hard to break down. But that's what you expect when a small team comes to your stadium, isn't it? So we're the ones that had to go forward, and we're the ones that had to have the impetus in the game, and really we were the ones that were dominating in that game. Spurs were barely out of their half in that first 30 minutes, and they were just pinned back, and they had nothing. They really had nothing other than trying to defend and not allowing us to have any space to work in behind them. They were terrified of us getting in behind them. And so they should be, because we saw what happened when we finally did. There was a chance in the 3rd minute from Rice where Eze clipped the ball over. And that was a feature of the game, that little clipped pass over. When you're playing with a defense like that, it's a really great way to try and get by them, That great Chelsea defense, that game against Barcelona, Ronaldinho couldn't go through. He went over, scored that amazing goal. So it was wonderful to see us trying to play a bit more 3D football, if you want, which is needed at times to deal with teams like that. But Rice took the shot straight at Vicario. Anywhere else, that's a goal. And I think that little move is maybe what prompted Spurs to sit so deep for the rest of that first half, and they played right into our hands, really. They're not super organized, and their wing backs aren't really don't have a defensive mind, so they weren't really tucking in to help out in midfield, and we started to get a bit more space in and around their box, and we started to pull their players out of position a little bit more, and they were standing off. They weren't coming into the tackle. They were allowing us to have the ball halfway in their half, and there was no space around us, so we had time to pick our passes. We had time to think about what we were going to do, and that's kind of how the first ball came. It was how the first goal came. It was a great ball over the top by Merino, one of those chip balls, the same one that Eze had given to Rice in the first half. And Trossard, actually fair play. I thought it was a bad touch at first, but he did what he had to do. He controlled it, kept it close to him, managed to turn, and he gets the shot off. And Van der Ven, came running back in. Spurs desperately trying to defend. By that stage, it was too little too late. 1-0 to the Arsenal. Fantastic goal from Trossard. He's such a big game player. you can rely on him, especially this season. He's come up with some big goals, big assists, and with not really having any other options for a while, with so many players being out injured, Trossard really had to step up, and he did. He has done, and yesterday was a huge goal, the first goal in a North London derby. Especially when Spurs are sitting so low, it's super important, because from that moment they then had to start trying to come out, and really their attack was toothless. Like I said it would be before the game, they didn't really have any options. The only person I was really kind of worried about was Kudus, but he was marked out of the game really, didn't get a lot of service, didn't get a lot of joy down that side. Calafiori shut him down pretty well, and without that outlet for them, they really had nowhere to go whenever they won the ball back. Arsenal pressed them and managed to turn the ball over quite high up the pitch in their half, and so we were able to keep the pressure on them, and Spurs really had no answer for it. It was all just a bit of desperate defending, and they really didn't have any cohesiveness in midfield. I was surprised that Sarr didn't start. I was more worried about if Sarr had started with Palhinha. I thought they would be quite solid there as the double pivot and protecting, screening that back four, but Palhinha was the only one trying to do anything really, and he was overrun in midfield. And when you have players like Rice and Zubimendi, it's going to be a long day at the office. Zubimendi was so controlled in that game. He was always available, and he was always brave to get the ball, whether he's under pressure, whether he's facing away from goal. And we were facing away from goal quite a bit in the first 30 minutes when Spurs were trying to, keep us at bay. But in the end, we turned the game and managed to drive at them a bit more and put a bit more pressure on them. And, that's how the second goal comes. Incredible play on the right-hand side, win the ball back. The ball gets recycled into Rice, and Rice has a great pass. He sees Eze. I mean, there's no one around Rice at this point, and Eze's just there, plays the ball into him, and that's when Tottenham decide to try and get around Eze, but Eze's already decided what he's going to do, and he was on the front foot already, takes a couple of touches to get himself a bit of space. You think he's maybe going to get crowded out by the Spurs defenders, but takes an incredible shot, drives it through. I mean, that was a goal where he's like, no, I'm scoring this goal no matter what happens. That's one of the most determined finishes I've seen in a while from an Arsenal player, where that goal is going in, and Vicario couldn't really do much about it. He got a hand to it. There was a bit of talk about the goal being offside, and a couple of our players were in the eye line of Vicario. To be fair, if it had been given offside, I kind of see why it would have been. But that rule is a mess this season. Sometimes it's given, sometimes it's not. That one that was ruled out, the Liverpool one, I thought that should have stood. So, I mean, I don't know what they're doing with this, but I'm going to take it. Like I said, I think Michael Oliver, because of all the stress and pressure that, the Arsenal fans put him under because he's so shit, I think he was trying to be on his best behavior and not have any, thing involved in denying Arsenal a goal or whatever. So it stood. I'm not going to complain. I mean, 2-0 just before halftime as well. What an incredible time to get that goal. And by that time, we're all in dreamland. You know what I mean? You think that you're going to be able to win the North London derby. You hope it's going to be something easy. And that's what I said at the beginning of my stream. Let this just be a very serene passage through this game, and I really, beyond my wildest dreams that it turned out to be that good. So we're 2-0 up, you go into halftime, you expect that Spurs are going to regroup and maybe come out with, being a little bit more decisive. They made a change at the break and brought on Xabi Simons for Colomwani, who was, just, I don't even remember him playing. I only realized he was off when I noticed Xabi Simons was on and double checked who'd come off. But yeah, Colomwani hadn't really done much in the game, and Xavi Simons came on, and he hasn't had a great start to his life in Premier League football, and Tottenham didn't have a great start to that second half. Before you know it, we're on them again. Timber, I gotta say, what a game from Timber. He was so solid in defense, so good at attacking, and I've said it before, he's now building up a really good relationship with Bukayo Saka, and Saka was, again, incredible yesterday. Didn't get his goal, didn't get his assist, but he was scaring the crap out of those Tottenham defenders. Udogie had a hard day at the office. dealing with Saka, and the combinations between Saka and Timber, the little interplays, the triangles, finding loads of space, incredible. And then Timber, like I said, great work, manages to play the ball in. Eze collects the ball so well, takes it onto his left foot, and again, I just knew he was going to score. I just knew he was going to score, and bang, 2 goals for Eze, 3-0 against Tottenham, like 1-2 minutes into the second half, and incredible, in dreamland, 3-0. Eze had a phenomenal game. I said it before, if you have been lucky enough to become a professional footballer and then go sign for your boyhood club, and now you're playing in your first derby, I mean, you're going to be so hyped, so focused, and so wanting to do well. I said, of anybody on that pitch, Eze is going to be the one that's the most focused and the most up for it. And he proved it. What an incredible game for him. He was always in space. He was always showing for the ball. He was tracking back defensively. He was everywhere, much like Rice. Rice was everywhere, covering every blade of grass. He was excellent in defense. He was a troubling Spurs in attack. It was just an incredible game from Rice, an incredible game from Eze, incredible game from Zubimendi. That midfield was phenomenal. Ran the show yesterday, and it looked like Arsenal are really starting to purr. Eze has found his place in the team. We signed him in the summer, but he truly arrived as an Arsenal player yesterday. He's a legend. He is a legend. Like, it's been since 1978 since a hat-trick was scored in the North London derby. It's your debut in the North London derby. You're a boyhood fan and you score a hat-trick. It's just, I mean, they're going to make like a movie about this one day. This is like, if you wrote that script, people would say, I don't know about that. It's a bit unbelievable. But there we go. Eze, phenomenal performance. All in all, that midfield was great. The only real blot on the day was that Richarlison goal, and that came from the one time where I think Zubimendi, I think he got a little bit complacent in that moment because we were 3-0 up. That's unforgivable, and you got to be switched on all the time. And Palhinha was on him for the first time. The Tottenham players were making that tackle early, engaging early instead of waiting until we were by their box before they tried to do something about it. And the ball falls kindly to Richarlison, and fair play to him. He spots Raya off his line. Everybody knows Raya tends to play a little bit high, but that's pretty much Zubimendi's fault. He had a lot of options. He didn't have to hold on to the ball for so long. He could have got rid of it. Maybe someone could have given him a shout about Palhinha, but that was Zubi's fault, that one. And 3-1 consolation goal. I was saying before, like during my stream, that I didn't see where Tottenham were going to score from, and I predicted 3-1 before the game. So when Richarlison scored, I was like, oh yeah, that's how they're going to score. But that was about it. Yes, a blip in the game, and for the next 5-10 minutes, Tottenham were really trying to make the most of that, trying to get the momentum to go with them. But we stood strong and solid and regained composure and retook control of the game. And before long, 4-1, Eze gets his hat-trick. Again, really good work in midfield. Rice plays the ball out to Trossard on the left. Trossard drives forward into the box, plays a lovely ball across. Eze takes it onto his right foot, like the mirror image of how he allowed the ball to run for the second goal. Picks his spot. Udogie gets sent to the shops, and Eze just smacks it into the back of the net. 4-1, 3-0, 3 goals for Eze, hat-trick, just like unbelievable stuff, limbs everywhere. I went mad, and I said it before, no one deserved it more than Eze. He said in his post-match interview that he'd prayed to get a hat-trick. My guy's making me a believer, seriously. He's manifesting stuff that you've got to feel there's some kind of power with him, and that signing of Eze transformative in terms of, I don't know, the joy he brings to the experience. I think everybody looking at Eze in terms of the other players are like, you're watching some joyous boy on the pitch that's living their dream. It's an infectious thing, and now that he's got his hat-trick, he's only going to go on and become a certified Arsenal legend, particularly if he helps drive us to success this season. And it's looking like it's going to be a really special season. I mean, you got to start believing now that we can win this thing. Like, you've got to start having that mindset. I think the players have that mindset. You've got to have that mindset now as a fan that we can go on and win this league, because we are the best team, we're the best squad, we play the best football, we've scored the most goals, we've conceded the least goals. I don't know what more we can do to show that we're ready to win this thing, bar winning the thing. Do you know what I mean? All in all, the tactics from Arteta were perfect. He knew exactly what was going to happen in that game. He made sure we were always on the front foot. He gave the players a lot of options in terms of how they could win that game. Like I said, I saw some 3D football that I haven't seen in a little while, and the consistency of it, it was clear that that was part of the game plan. The defense was solid, unbothered. I mean, yes, we conceded one. That's not really anything to do with the defense. Like I said, it was a bit of a Zubi mix-up. Nkapie was solid for his first start coming in. Wow. What, we didn't miss Gabriel at all, and that's not to say that, you know, we don't miss Gabriel, but it's that Nkapie stepped in. Our squad is so strong now that we really do have two fantastic players for every position, and someone who's ready to step in when needed, when form is gone, or for whatever reason, just to rotate. I mean, Nkapie did a great job. Timber was fantastic, top draw, as he always is. Saka, again, phenomenal. Didn't get his goal and assist, but that doesn't matter. He ran the show. He pushed them back. We controlled that game from start to finish. I've mentioned about the midfield. Zubimendi and Rice were amazing. Zubi so controlled, always knows what he's going to do with the ball, always knows where everybody else is on the pitch in relation to when he's receiving the ball. Like I said, he got a little bit complacent for that Richarlison goal, but that will help him. Remember, don't do that again, you know. Luckily, it really didn't have any effect on the game, and Richarlison has something to chat about with his family tonight besides getting spanked by Arsenal. Merino, let me shout out Merino, because, wow, he plays so well. He knows, the thing about Merino is he has such a good understanding of space in terms of where he needs to be and where he shouldn't be, so that he vacates space for players, and he has such an awareness of where everyone else is. And of course, he's so technical that he can execute on some complicated passes and things like that. And so Merino, shout out to him as well. No number 9, it doesn't even matter, because the way we play, it's not about one person being the goal scorer. It's about the team functioning well and everybody understanding how to give opportunities to whoever is in form or whoever gets into position. And Eze was the person that obviously the game had to go through him, and so it did. He was phenomenal on the night. Man of the match, obviously. Hat trick, got a ball to take home. There's no way he slept last night. No way he slept last night. I personally didn't get to bed very late, and I had nothing to do with what happened on the pitch. But I mean, I'm just so happy for the guy. Like I said, Saka was incredible, causes fear in the defense. Raya had nothing to do. Obviously, he didn't get his clean sheet. There's not much he could have done about the goal. Richarlison took it so well. But Raya just needs to be aware a little bit. When he saw that tackle coming in from Palhinha, he should already have been, you know, getting a bit further back. It was a bit too late to react, and so we conceded the goal. But, you know, that's okay. These things happen. You just got to make sure that they don't happen again. You've got to make sure that you learn from your mistakes, and yeah, you don't make those silly mistakes again, because I said that was just a stupid mistake. So that brings me to my player ratings for the game. I'm going to deal with the first team squad, and let's start with Raya. A 6. Didn't really have much to do. Spurs had an XG of 0.0 whatever, and Raya didn't have much to do. The only thing he had to do was pick the ball out of the net from Richarlison's goal. Not much he could do about that. So just a standard solid 6 for Raya. Calafiori, a 7. He locked down the left-hand side. Nobody got any joy from him. He was trying to support the attack, and he was better than average, so I'm going to give him a 7. And the defense across the board are going to get high marks. Nkapie, I'm giving an 8. To come in, your first start in the Premier League, it's a North London derby, and you're replacing Gabriel, and not a sniff. He was so solid, so controlled, knows how to move the ball well, knows how to play on the front foot, and he's just a leader. You can see he's got that thing to him where even if Gabriel's not there, we've still got someone with that mentality, that never say die attitude, that South American grit. And Saliba, 7. great, controlled. I think Nketiah was a little bit better of him today, but you know, they never got a sniff out of Saliba. So for me, better than average, so a 7. Timber, an 8. He was phenomenal in defense, supporting the attack. That right-hand side caused Spurs a lot of problems, and they really couldn't deal with him. He was involved in a couple of goals, got assists or pre-assists, and Timber is the best right back in the league, and you're going to get minimum 7 from him every game. Yesterday he was an 8, as was Rice. Rice was an 8 as well, controlled that midfield. He was everywhere, covered every blade of grass, getting back to help in defense, going up and supporting in attack. Incredible performance from Rice, and you know, he's just awesome as a player, and so solid whenever he performs for us. Thubimendi, I'm going to give a 7. I know he was at fault for that goal, but that's literally the only thing he did wrong, and it's a North London derby and his first one, and you know, apart from that, he was impeccable. So I'm not going to give him a 6. I'm going to give him a 7. That was just one little blip. Don't let it happen again, Zubi. Next time it's a 6. Trossard, an 8 as well. Phenomenal. Gets a goal, gets an assist. Played really well. Caused Spurs a lot of problems. Never let Jed Spence get any rest. And Jed Spence is like twice the size of Trossard. And Trossard was given as good as he was getting, you know? So well done, Trossard. Solid 8 there. Saka, a 7. Really, he had a great game. Pushed them back a lot. Didn't get a goal, didn't get an assist. But he did cause them a lot of problems and was a big reason why we were able to pressure them so much. He was able to hold on to the ball. He was able to recycle the ball. He was able to play those little close passes with Timber, with Thubi, with Merino, and keep us up and pressuring Spurs. And we were able to turn over the ball a lot more because of that. And then Merino, solid 7. You know, he got, maybe I could give him an 8, but a solid 7. He got an assist. He played really well. He was occupying the Spurs defenders really well. He uses the space really well. And you know, even if we haven't got a real, you know, definite centre forward playing, we've got Merino, and he's phenomenal. He's better than most centre forwards in this league, to be perfectly honest. Arteta, for me, 10. What an impeccably tacticked game, for want of a better expression. He knew exactly what to expect from Spurs. He knew exactly what to do to counteract it. And he's turning into one of the best managers in world football. To take Arsenal from where we were to where we are, and for us to have so much control, so much personality, so much joy when we play, it's really phenomenal. And you can really see that the players love him, they respect him, and they really love playing for him and being part of this Arsenal squad. So fantastic performance all round from Arsenal. You know, Tottenham back in your box, and it's just a great Monday. Everybody, you just got to watch as much content as possible. We've got Bayern Munich next. I'm going to do a preview for that tomorrow. There'll be highlights of the watch along out later. See me going wild for a few of the goals, obviously. And then, yeah, hey, enjoy your Monday, bask in it. Top of the league, 6 points clear, 3 points from Spurs. What a wonderful day. You know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, grow the community with me. Send me a comment about how you celebrated smashing Spurs. And hey, have a great day. Take it easy. Peace. Bye.